Information-fueled.
Opinion-driven.
This is Nashville's Morning News with Dan Mandis.
And so, my fellow Americans,
we talk news.
5:06, Nashville's Morning News on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. And man, there is a lot of Super Talk going on this morning. Of course, everybody knows what happened on Friday, this meeting between Donald Trump, J.D. Vance, Volodymyr Zelensky. Now, the latest on this is that Zelensky apparently is now ready to sign this mineral deal, but there's a lot of questions going on right now within this deal. And so I want to talk a little bit about, we've all heard the audio, we've all seen the video of J.D. Vance and Donald Trump and Zelensky going back and forth, and the big argument that that happened ensued. But here's the thing that I actually want to talk about. I want to talk about what led up to the argument. Again, we've all heard the argument, but people are trying to blame Donald Trump. And people are trying to say, the people on the left, they're trying to say, and in the media, that this was some sort of an ambush between J.D. Vance and Donald Trump and Zelensky. And so I want to play audio that actually proves that Zelensky was really the one that kind of ambushed Donald Trump and J.D. Vance, not the other way around. And this is important. If you've seen the video, you know that Zelensky was sitting there, arms folded, had a few times where he kind of eye rolled, and clearly he was coming in very either passive aggressively or downright aggressive. Now, there's a reason for that, and I'm going to get into that coming up. But I want to play some audio for you. And this is just a few sound bites leading up to the argument. And Zelensky was absolutely obsessed with security guarantees from Donald Trump.
Really, I hope that this first document, will be a first step to real security guarantees for Ukraine, our people, during our conversation, and of course the infrastructure or security guarantees. And I really count on your strong position to stop Putin. And you said that enough with the war. I think that is very important, Ben, to say these words to Putin at the very beginning of war, because he is a killer and terrorist. But I hope that together we can stop him. And you know that this crazy Russian, that they stolen 20,000 of children, Ukrainian children. They changed their names.
All right, so you heard many times there, that was a montage of Zelensky talking about his desire for security guarantees. Donald Trump has been saying all along, he's been very open and honest and transparent about this. The mineral deal has to come first. Then we talk about security guarantees. And you also heard within that montage that I put together that Zelensky was also saying not so good things about Vladimir Putin, which is certainly his right. But that is the lead up to the blow up. And again, from what I keep hearing, the lead up to this meeting itself was full of issues, because everybody was frustrated. Donald Trump was frustrated. J.D. Vance, Marco Rubio, the entire Trump administration was very angry with Zelensky because he simply would not sign this deal. And you've got Marco Rubio and Scott Bessent and the Secretary of State and the Treasury Secretary. They're both saying that Zelensky wouldn't sign off on this deal. And he kept pushing it off, and then that leads up to this meeting. Now, at the beginning of the meeting, Trump was very cordial and very nice to Zelensky. He said, "I'm honored to have you here. Great to have you here." And it was almost to be a celebration of the signing of this deal.
And long-term security for Ukraine. How does it provide it?
I think they're going to have great luck. I think once we make the agreement, that's going to be 95% of it. They're not going to go back to fighting. I've spoken with President Putin, and I feel very strong. I've known him for a long time, and I feel very strongly that they're very serious about it, and we'll make a deal. And when the deal is made, I don't think we talk about security. Everyone's talking about the other day, all they talked about was security. I said, let me make the deal first.
Yeah, Trump wanted the deal. And here's the thing. The thing is, Donald Trump wants to be paid back for the last 3.5 years, the hundreds of billions of dollars that we, the people of America, have paid for this never-ending war between Russia and Ukraine. And so Trump wants to be paid back, and then we'll talk about security moving forward. Because Trump doesn't want to be involved in protecting Ukraine for the rest of time. Nobody does. And Donald Trump pointed out many times, Americans do need to be paid back, and our taxpayer dollars do need to be protected.
Terrible. They were giving money, but he had no security on the money. Europe, as you know, gave much less money, but they had security. It was in the form of a loan. They get their money back, and we didn't. And now, at least we're protected because the American taxpayer has to be protected too. But
and there's nothing wrong with that. And so it's been fascinating to watch over the weekend. You have all of these, and Zelensky has been on this European tour, right? He's been embracing Emmanuel Macron. He's been embracing the UK Prime Minister, and he's been all over the country, all over the world. And the thing that I love is that for Donald Trump, I mean, he's been saying this all along. You know what, Europe? You take care of this. Knock yourselves out. And then, of course, in the news this morning is Zelensky suddenly, after going and seeing all of these world leaders, Zelensky is now ready to sign this mineral deal. And so the question is, well, do you believe him? Is he really going to do this? And so you heard Donald Trump say, and this is a fact, that America has given money, far more money than Europe. That's number one. Number two, with Europe, these were loans to be paid back. And with America, under Joe Biden, we were just making it rain for Ukraine, just not ever getting our money back. And so the two financial arrangements were completely different. Zelensky decides to defend his European friends and disagree with Donald Trump on how much Europe gave. This was Zelensky publicly rebuking Donald Trump on the world stage. And this really, I believe, was the beginning of the end.
President Trump said that they made less support, but they are our friends and they are our very supportive partners. They really gave a lot, Mr. President. They did.
They gave a lot, but they gave much less.
No.
Much less.
No. No.
Don't argue with me.
No.
Okay.
And so that of course, you heard, I mean, in a very belittling way, Zelensky is saying that Europe gave just as much as America. And that is simply not true. That is simply not true. And so Trump is just sitting there, and you heard him. Trump is like, I'm not going to argue about this. His whole point, Donald Trump's whole point, was he wanted this to be a celebration of this deal. And Vance was absolutely right. Zelensky went in there with an agenda. If anybody is guilty of an ambush, it is Zelensky. And at one point, and Zelensky has said this before, that he refuses to make any compromises. And Donald Trump said, well,
I think you're going to have to always make compromises. You can't do any deals without compromises. So certainly he's going to have to make some compromises.
And listen, Donald Trump and his team, they've been going back and forth with Zelensky and Putin since he got into office, really before he got into office, trying to end this thing. And so it is clear that Zelensky and Europe, they want this never-ending war. And Donald Trump, of course, all this man wants to do is save lives and find some peace. That's all he wants to do. And now he's been accused, and he is being accused perpetually, of he and J.D. Vance having all of this pre-planned and ambushing Zelensky, when in my opinion, it was the other way around. I've got more audio on this, 5:15. Watch us on YouTube if you would. You can stream us anywhere and everywhere. You can watch us on Facebook and X and 997WTN.com. My preferred way is on YouTube. And if you go to YouTube, you can take the Daily Dan poll, watch the radio show, take the poll, and the poll question basically is, do you believe that Donald Trump and J.D. Vance, as they are being accused, did they ambush Vladimir Zelensky? Was this whole confrontation pre-planned? Go take the poll right now at YouTube and watch us there as well. Now, Donald Trump and his team, they've been going back and forth with Putin and Zelensky since he got into office, trying to end this thing. And Donald Trump is getting blasted on many sides simply for wanting to save lives and money. How dare he?
This would be a great thing if we could do this. I'm doing this to save lives more than anything else. Second is to save a lot of money, but I consider that to be far less important.
All right, so you've heard all of this audio, and there's a little bit more, but you've heard all of this audio. Does it sound to you like this is Donald Trump trying to bait Zelensky? No. Trump is simply here to talk up and celebrate this minerals agreement that was supposed to be signed in just a few hours following this press conference. And Zelensky came in. I played you the montage earlier where he kept derailing the conversation and talking about this security guarantee. And that's not where Donald Trump was. Trump kept saying the security guarantee is such a small part of this whole thing. But there was also another sticking point about Zelensky wearing a suit and about how Trump, he wanted Zelensky to wear a suit. He wanted Zelensky to come in and wear a suit, not the usual, that military kind of garb that he wears. And Zelensky, he has said in the past, in fairness to Zelensky, he has always said, I'm not going to wear a suit while Ukraine is at war. But Trump said, listen, I'd like him. He sent word to Zelensky's team. I want him to wear a suit to respect the Oval Office and the American people.
You're at the highest. Why don't you wear a suit? You're at the highest level in this country's office, and you refuse to wear a suit. Just want to see if do you own a suit?
Yeah, problems.
A lot of Americans have problems with you not
Really?
respecting the dignity of this office.
I will wear a costume after this war will finish.
Okay.
Yes, maybe. One.
Maybe something
like yours, yes.
That'd be great.
Maybe something better, I don't know.
Yeah.
We will see. Maybe something cheaper than, yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
So, clearly Zelensky didn't know what to say to all that. But here's my take on the whole suit thing. If the guy that is giving you billions of dollars wants you to wear a suit, then put on a damn suit.
Did you see when he showed up? When he first got out of the car?
Yes. I wish I had that audio. Can you see if you can find that audio?
Yeah.
So Zelensky gets out of the car and Trump, by the way, towering over Zelensky, and he shakes hands and Trump basically says, oh, it's great you got all dressed up. Look, he got all dressed up. And Zelensky's sitting there looking like a fifth grader who forgot that it was school picture day. You know what I mean? But Zelensky, again, if you're coming to the president of the United States, if you're coming to the Oval Office and you want billions of dollars and the guy that you're asking for that money wants you to wear a suit, you wear a suit. I think Zelensky is very prideful. And I think Zelensky, he's got some issues with ego and pride. And one of the things that I noticed, and you probably noticed this too, is that during this whole thing, especially when these two titans started to clash, Trump and Zelensky wouldn't shut the hell up.
The audio is so bad from when he got out of the car.
Yeah.
Because it's just loud. But President Trump shakes his hand. He's looking at him and he says, oh, look, he's all dressed up.
Oh, look, he's all dressed up. And the funny part is, Trump is towering over him too.
Yeah, he's much bigger than him.
But here's the thing though. Trump actually, Trump took the high road on the whole suit thing.
Please.
And I do like your clothing, brother.
Yeah, really?
Even though I think he's a great guy, by the way. But I don't know if you two like each other. But you know what? I think he's dressed.
I like this guy.
I think he's dressed beautifully.
So I have more serious things than answer on side questions. I will answer on more serious questions if I can.
And so, Trump is trying to sort of de-escalate things.
Yeah.
And over, as Trump, is getting clearly frustrated that Zelensky is focused on the security detail and not the mineral deal. And you could tell that things were getting a little combative. Let's just put it that way. A little combative. Trump talking about getting the deal done.
I want to get the deal done. Security is so easy. That's about 2% of the problem. I'm not worried about security. I'm worried about getting the deal done.
Yeah, and he said that over and over again. And by the way, obviously there's nothing wrong with wanting to get a deal done. I never thought I would see a time where you have in America and across the world where an American president is trying to save lives and end a war. And so many people are against it. It is, honest to goodness, it is baffling. I knew it was bad, and I'm going to get into this audio here at some point throughout the morning. I knew it was bad when Lindsey Graham, of all people, because, he's a war hawk, right? And he's been a big friend to Zelensky. When Zelensky had his meltdown and he was escorted from the Oval Office, Graham came out and he basically called for regime change. And he said that he had lost all faith in Vladimir Zelensky. And he said the people of Ukraine need to decide whether or not Zelensky is the guy that they want to be in charge. So I've got that audio for you. And by the way, the big news this morning is that Zelensky is now saying that he's ready to sign a mineral deal. But what I find interesting is that he did spend all of that time touring Europe and the UK. And he met with all of these foreign leaders, and, they're all talking about how they're going to step up, not only financially, but also they're talking about militarily. And Zelensky suddenly on this Monday morning, after meeting with all of those world leaders, is now ready to come back and sign a deal with Donald Trump. So we'll keep you updated on all that.